Hello, Goblins and Goblinettes. Welcome back to the kitchen. I am Destined Goblin, and welcome to a special edition of In the Kitchen with Goblin, because today we actually have two special components to this video. Number one, this is a special pet edition of In the Kitchen with Goblin, and number two, I am being joined by Mrs. Goblin. So, yay. Welcome. So, what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about ferrets. If you are a ferret owner, this will be of particular interest to you. Now, if you are a ferret owner, you know that as these animals get a little bit older, they can have some medical issues, they can have some health concerns and things, and they can start to drop their weight a little bit, or they may need a medication that needs to be delivered to them on a daily basis. What we're going to do today is we are going to create something called Soupie. You may have heard this term before. Usually when you feed your ferrets, you'll give them their dry kibble, but you can also provide them with Soupie, which is a combination of several high protein ingredients, and it's a little bit more of a liquid food, and they all seem to really like the taste of it, and it's an easy way to deliver those medications if you do have to give them a medication at some point. So this thing kind of solves two problems there at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and gather all of our ingredients, and then we'll talk about those ingredients and assemble the Soupie in just a second. All right, we have gathered all of our ingredients, and we're ready to go ahead and get started. Now, as I've mentioned in the past, we have a lot of animals that live in our house. We have several cats, we have a bird, and we have several ferrets as well. And it's important to remember that this particular recipe that we're going to do today, there's no real set way to do this. There's a lot of variation. You'll find what works for you, for your particular ferret. If you find that they don't like one of these components that goes into this, you can always leave that out, put something else in. The important things to remember is that you're looking for high protein ingredients, and you're looking for very good quality ingredients. Some fats too as well. Okay, so there we go. So what would be some of the reasons that we would want to make something like this? Why would we want to give this to these animals?
Well, like you were saying, for medications, it's really hard to get them to actually take a medication all by itself. So we actually feed the Soupie as like a daily thing, and we do it like once a day for all of our ferrets. And then the ones that are a little older or having any kind of medical issues, sometimes we'll give them their own Soupie in the afternoons, maybe once or twice in the afternoons, depending upon the situation with that ferret. But we give everybody the Soupie on a daily basis in the morning, so then that way they get used to it, and in that way you're not trying to get them used to a new food on top of trying to medicate them. And we have had success with every single ferret that we've had some kind of medicine to give to, whether it was prednisone or any other medications that we've had to give to them, just by getting it in a liquid form from your veterinarian, and then just drawing up the amount of medication that you need, then going to the Soupie. And as long as it's liquidy enough that you can pull it up in the syringe and then just draw what you want as far as the Soupie goes into a syringe, and just syringe feed them, and they'll eat it up right away. So remember, no set schedule as far as how many times a day to give it to them. No real set recipe. This is kind of a basic framework for it. And also not a substitute for their regular kibble as well. Make sure you always provide that to them as well. Now, hold on. There are some people that opt to do a raw diet.
Okay.
So we do not do a raw diet, like exclusively raw. And when I say raw, I'm talking about raw meats and things like that, which ferrets are fine to give the raw meats to. If you're able to have that kind of a diet for them on a regular basis, then feel free to include that along with the Soupie. We provide them a daily, throughout the day, they have free feed of their high protein and fat kibble diet, which is the Ysong, Epigem 90, just exclusively for ferrets. And then we also do a half and half where we mix that, and then we also do a kitten food that's got a high protein. What you're looking for is high protein. It should have meats and everything as the first food groups in the ingredients. As far as the kitten foods go, we do the Blue Wilderness. There's like the Blue Buffalo, I think, and various other brands. There is a ferret food chart that gives you a listing of all the different foods, including the kitten brands, that have the higher, and they're graded by the highest amount of proteins to the lowest amount. And then you can look at that chart and figure out which one you want to try and give them. But you obviously want to give them the highest quality protein diet as possible, because they'll have less problems medically down the road. We have one ferret that she's like 9 years old now. So that's like the upper end of age for ferrets. So I kind of attribute that to the fact that we have her on this high quality diet, and then on top of that we're giving her the Soupie. She's one of the ones that gets a Soupie twice a day, and she gets her own little feeding in the afternoon along with one of our other ferrets that's also a little bit on the elderly side. So when you see a ferret dropping a little bit of weight, or if they're ill for any reason but they're still able to eat, I definitely recommend putting together a Soupie, because it'll provide them an easy way to eat it versus having to chew on something. And on top of that, it's very high protein and it's got some good fats in it. And if they eat it, you know, 2-3 times a day, they'll plump up pretty quick. So they put on the weight pretty quick if you have that available for them.
All right, so the thing to remember here is that this does get blended, so you want to make sure that you put all your ingredients in a good blender container. So we're going to start out with some water, I guess?
Yeah, I start off by pouring a little bit of the water. I put about half a cup of water total in the whole thing, and then half a cup of kibble. I put the water in there first because I find that in my little blender, having the water on the bottom and on the top helps it to kind of mix together better.
Okay, this is called Carnivore Care.
I put at least a good tablespoon or so in there. We're on the last little bits. Hold on, let me. This one. So I put about 1 to 2 tablespoons of the Carnivore Care, and it's special for ferrets and other animals that eat protein. Ferrets are obligate carnivores, meaning they don't eat any fruit or vegetables. So do not feed your ferrets any kind of fruit or vegetables, and that's where the Kitten Foods sometimes will have listed in them some vegetables. Peas are a big
filler
problem for them too. They can develop problems down the road from having peas, urinary problems and things like that. So,
and you can get all of these ingredients either through Amazon or through Chewy if you can't find them at your grocery store or your pet store. These are pretty common ingredients. You should be able to find them pretty easily.
So this is Stella and Chewy's, and we use like the beef liver. I think they have like a dried chicken. They might even have a dried turkey. I just, you know, kind of mix it up every once in a while for them. And then this one, let me get a... Once again, I do about maybe a 1/4 cup to half a cup of this.
Okay.
So that's the freeze-dried food.
All right. This is Benabak Plus.
This is provides the probiotics that they can use for their digestive system. Ferrets are notorious for having irritable bowel syndrome and other stomach problems. So giving them some probiotics will definitely help their little digestive systems. They have a very short digestive system. So you'll notice that they're almost like those little dolls that you used to get, and you'd feed them the water and then they'd pee almost immediately. Ferrets are similar. Once they eat or drink something, within a short period of time, it goes through their system and out to the other end. So the thing with them is they have to have a free feed availability of food at all times, because the food doesn't stay in them long enough to, you know, always get fully digested. So they get a little bit of nutrients from each feeding that they get. So you want to make sure that they have enough food to keep themselves so that they get those nutrients.
2 egg yolks.
Just the yolks. The whites can actually cause problems down the road if you feed that too much to them. And these are raw.
And some baby food.
And we use the beech nut brand. And I usually go with like the chicken and chicken broth, or they have like a turkey and turkey broth, and I think a beef and beef broth. So the whole jar of that.
And then we have wild Alaskan salmon oil.
So we put a few pumps of this.
Again, these ingredients you can tinker with depending on how many ferrets you have, what your situation is. No set amounts for any of these things.
We have 7 ferrets, so keep in mind that this lasts us just under a week for all 7 of them. So it's not like, you know, they're getting it all in one sitting or something.
Now, this is Thanksgiving week, so we've got an extra special treat for our ferrets here. We've got some of the giblets and things like that left over, so we're going to add some of that to this batch of soupy. Put all that in there.
Yeah, we can try. I don't know if we'll
Container's getting full.
Yes.
Yep.
We'll add some water.
Okay. We need more water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then that I'll put into the blender, and we're going to try and get this all blended up. So we finished blending the entirety of what we put into the little blender, and so it's pretty much a mushy, you know, there's little tiny chunks in there, but not much.
It should kind of look like a granulated milkshake.
Yeah, just don't drink it unless you really like a lot of the ingredients that's in here. I mean, I'm sure it'd probably be good for us humans too, but...
Now, we found a couple of ways that we can make this last longer. You can put it directly in the fridge, and it'll be fine for about a week in the fridge. We've also found that we can take an ice cube tray, and we can make little ice cubes out of it, freeze that, and then about an hour before you're ready to feed it, pull one of those ice cubes out, let it thaw a little bit, and then just pour some hot water in just before you're ready to serve it. Kind of mix it all up, and you're back to your original consistency, and that'll extend the life of the soupy as well.
And you can make this as thick or as thin of a soupy as you want. So if you have like a ferret that has some kind of dental problems or problems with their mouth or anything like that, you can certainly try to, if it's too thick, you can add more water to thin it out a little bit. The thing is you just want them to get the good nutrients from the overall mix.
All right, we're going to go ahead and fill this ice cube tray, and then it'll be time for a taste test for one of our ferrets. Okay, so we've taken that mixture, we put a scoop of it into a little dish here, and we poured some hot water in there, mixed that all up. Mrs. Goblin has brought out s'mores. She is one of our older ferrets, and we're going to go ahead and give her a little bit of... There we go. You can see that she does have some hair loss going on there. That is one of the things that will happen to ferrets as they get older, especially if they start to get some adrenal problems and things like that. You'll start to see some hair loss. So she does love her soupy. She's one of our best eaters as far as the soupy goes.
And she's about 8 or so. So she's one of our elderly babies. So getting this extra little feeding is fine for her. She was dropping a little bit of weight, so just to play it safe, we're giving her some extra feedings. But
you can see she loves it.
And this is with the little giblets and stuff in it, so you know they'll eat. Some people even recommend just going and buying a bunch of little chicken hearts. They're very inexpensive, and you can blend that up into their soupie. You can even feed that to them. You don't necessarily have to cook them. I actually boiled these. I boiled them in with the turkey broth because I like to have that extra flavor in our gravy for Thanksgiving. So they're getting the little giblets that I boiled in preparation for our gravy.
So there we go. That is how to make soupie for ferrets. So if you would be so kind as to like this video, share this video, comment on this video, and then if you have not yet done so, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would appreciate all of those things. You can accomplish all of that by pressing those buttons that you will see on the bar directly below this video that you are watching. And if you have any ideas for suggestions of content that you would like to see here on this YouTube channel, any places you'd like to see me go, things you'd like to see me try, things you'd like to see me do, anything like that, you can reach me through my email. That is destinedgoblin@yahoo.com. I will do my very best to answer each and every one of those emails that you send me, and I will definitely take every suggestion that you make to heart. So while S'mores is finishing up her soupie here, I will say goodbye until next time. Come back to our kitchen and we'll make something else. There we go.